While we're experiencing frost in the morning, I hear England and Ireland are having some beautiful weather. So watch out, those washing lines will be full.
Oh, it's a great day for drying.
Get attacked by your mother's knickers.
And then get the phone call. Get the washing in. It started to rain.
Yeah.
Because it only lasts like half a day, and you're normally out of the house. Oh my god, that brings back so many memories, Charlotte.
I know.
So many
Every time I speak to my
memories
mum,
of.
oh, the weather's beautiful.
Now, in
Long
saying
may it
that, they've
last.
had some stunning days. They've been up there in the 18 degrees in Ireland.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah, now did you sing?
I
To be
know.
fair,
I mean,
look at the sunshine coming in here.
oh, I know. I mean, I went to see a client yesterday and I drove through, so I'm in central Otago and drove through Bannockburn to go and see my client. And as I came over this hill, I just saw all the vineyards like over the rolling hills, all like orange and golden. And oh my gosh, it was the most beautiful. And I was like, God, why don't I have like a dash cam or something so I can record things like this? Because then I forget afterwards and I'm like, oh, I just want to get home.
Well, I mean, you don't go out as much as I do because I have to commute every day. And oh my God, it is just stunning. Charlotte, you could stop every day. Like you
Mm.
genuinely could stop every day. The colors of autumn are unreal. And the fact that we're still getting this sunshine, this temperature, the leaves are still turning, and it's May is absolutely incredible because some years the wind comes in around the end of April and next thing is the trees are just absolutely fucking white and May looks a little bit dreary and the weather gets really cold and it gets, you kind of, the mountains aren't open. So May can be a bit shit. But honestly, when you're driving along, and oh, the sunset and sunrises at the moment are unreal too.
I
You
know.
know what I'm like this time of year, bringing that up. Like, people are sick of me saying it.
But do you know what
Sick
I
of
do
me.
find, like, I mean, we said about this in our goal party at Christmas about there's certain seasons where you're really productive. And I feel like autumn is my season. Like, I mean, I'm on fire at the moment with just expanding and growing and creating. It's been insane.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely
Yeah.
well done. I love that because I mean it is the opposite to probably a lot of people because they feel spring is wakening them up and they're going for it. But I mean, listen, I'm going to take credit for this. I'm rubbing off on you. I'm like, bring on the colder months because you also kind of want to, with the sunshine not out there, you're not more inclined to be out in the garden. You're not more inclined to be on your lounger reading a book. And then when you're indoors, you're finding other things to do. And because we're on this massive journey of just up leveling ourselves and wanting to learn and we're implementing the things that we're reading and learning, it's a great fucking time of year to do it because it's
Mm.
darker early, but yet you don't want to just sit down and bloody veg out either watching shit yet. That will come as well. Like there is a part of winter where I think that should be something we definitely should do. But yeah, I am just feeling it as well. I am expanding. I'm leveling up. Opportunities are knocking on the door without me even asking. It is a fucking time to be alive.
It definitely is. And yeah, I mean, like, it is really like massively down to like the context of everything. Like, just the season that you're in and, the people that you're mixing with. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but we've also I think that's our growth as well. Like we're realizing as well, like when you're around certain people, like just listen because you could learn something. Or do you mean with work with clients? Like do you mean personal or business?
Well, no, like everything, I suppose. Like even so I
Mm.
kind of checked in on my retreats page that I kind of put on hold when I bought the house and everything. And it has just grown massively. Like the mailing list has grown and it's really like just something that I'm like, oh my God, I really need to step back into that. Like, why did I put myself in a box of this is what I'm doing now? Like I loved that period of my life when I it was after how it happened was I watched, you remember I joined that masterclass app And I watched that video of Richard Branson. I literally spent a Friday night in with Richard. He was like barefoot on his island on a sofa, like telling stories of his life. And it was the best thing I've ever watched in my life. And from that, I built the website for the retreat business. I mean, I'd never really spoken about a retreat business, but just funny how, I stepped outside of my category, basically.
But if I had to ask you a moment in your life that shoved like you like off the cliff, it is that Richard Branson moment. You
Oh,
often refer back to it, and after you watched it, you rang and you were just like, "I've just watched this. Like it was worth joining the master classes," and that put a fire up your
yeah,
ass. And that must be a good like how many years ago now? Because no, you already had the business. Don't get me wrong; you were already on the road. But when you did that, you realized that you could step outside your box, you could step outside your comfort zone, and you absolutely fucking did.
yeah.
That was a moment for you.
I know. And, I highly recommend anyone to watch it. It was just, it was so relaxed. Like it was like spending a Friday night in with Richard Branson. And, it sounds insane.
Your best
But,
friend.
he was telling the stories about, how he started Virgin Atlantic and stuff. And it was just mental. Like he just rented a Boeing 747, and the way he didn't even pay for it, he got the bank to loan him the money for it. It was just he was so inspirational. All the things he started, like with the record business, everything was done from kind of nothing and just fuck it, let's try it, fuck it, let's do it kind of attitude.
But you're bringing up the side of somebody that we don't normally get to see unless it's paid. Like you're bringing up the side of somebody like with the record business. I'm sure people out there are thinking, what do you mean, Richard Branson with a record business? You're bringing up the side of someone that we don't normally get to see. We get to see people just on a surface layer. Like there's obviously other, I mean, his personality. Does he have does he have does he have dyslexia? Is that something that he admits? And does he say something
I
about
don't know,
himself in
maybe.
school was never for him or something like that? But what inspired you isn't just the fact of what he's done. What's inspired you is the starting from nothing, trying other things, and maybe it didn't fruition. That's what I like. I think that's what inspires me about people is when we don't put them into a box and
Yeah.
we hear their actual story. Like some people can inspire you just from telling you their life story. It's not about the end of their story. It's, I mean, the how they got there or where they ended up. Yes, you might have like that might be how you know them now, but what's the inspiring part is listening to their story of starting, their traits, their triggers, their backstory, their childhood life, what inspired them. That's
Yeah.
what inspired you. Is that he's not a man in that box that we just think this rich guy who owns a big airline.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like Richard Branson's quite a personality in the UK. So I've always kind of known about him and, Virgin Records and, everything. He was always present. And I actually knew some family friends, they like went to school with his children. So like he was always kind of present. But yeah, like you say, it's more about, just the fuck it, let's give it a go kind of attitude. And even like with the retreats business, after we did the first year and I moved to New Zealand, and I kind of just thought, you know what, maybe this is just one of those businesses that I tried and it's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to be because I'm in New Zealand and then I'd kind of written it off, and then I kept seeing these emails coming in every day of people signing up to the wait list, and it's the social media was growing, even though I wasn't really posting anymore. I was doing the odd story here and there, and it's not dead, and it's not a failure. Not that there's a problem with a failure. You need failures to keep going, and probably there was steps in my marketing business, in the podcast, and in the retreats business where we have probably tripped up, but we didn't really notice it 'cause we're just going a million miles an hour. You don't realize when you're fucking up and you're changing course because like, oh, that didn't work. Quick, change to this, and you're so moving so quickly, you don't realize that you're actually learning from your mistakes all the time. And other people just see you winning. They don't see the fails. You know, that we spoke about in the last one where we tried to pre-record and advance episodes and it just didn't work. So a total waste of time. But we didn't really dull on it. We just moved on and carried on.
Yeah, we realized, okay, what works, what doesn't. We tried something, it doesn't work, let's go. And that's what it's all about. And patience is there too. Like, you're going to learn so much patience with the retreat because you're after learning so much since you launched it. So much more. You've got so much more to give that retreat now, just because you didn't persevere and try and double down on everything, and you not putting
Yeah.
the pressure on yourself to fly from New Zealand to Italy all the time because of it. You were like, okay, it needs to just be set aside for 5 seconds. And then you didn't just do nothing. You did other stuff. You navigated your business, Fresh Mix. You started a podcast. You've learned how to deal with somebody else in business, which was me, because you do have a partner on the ground in Italy as well. So you've learned how to deal with having a business partner. You've learned how to navigate. You've learned how to navigate your actual business to give you more freedom. You got the house. You've got a plan with the house. You still have a plan for Italy. Who
God,
knows what's going to
it
happen with the
sounds
retreat? But I think
exhausting.
but everything sounds exhausting when you talk to people that have a million things going on. I sound exhausting to myself if I think about stuff too much. I'm like, oh my God, how do I get all that done? And someone says, oh, how are you going? What are you up to? Well, I'm doing this, 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 this. And they're like, what the fuck? But actually, having patience and slowing down and letting it flow, I think the freaking out about things is what makes it more daunting. And then you really pack it in and you actually don't do anything about it at all. I think what's happening with you is amazing. I really honestly think the things that you've done in between launching that retreat business and what you've learned in between of just, concentrating on what's happening in New Zealand for the time being. I think it's all actually going to work out real fucking lovely for Charlotte
I know. Well,
Overton.
it feels like that's all kind of coming into play now, like all the plans that I've had. And do you know what? Like, it's all down to a lot of things that we've been doing and we've been preaching, like doing these goal setting sessions, the manifesting challenge. It's like all of this stuff is constantly declaring, like, what do I want? What do I want? How am I going to get there? It's all those steps that you take. And it's also stepping out of the bloody categories that everyone puts you in. Like, even like you said, when you see people and they're like, what do you do? Or what are you up to? For me, the answer is usually like, oh yeah, I'm in digital marketing. And then I see the glazed look on their face and I'm like, social media. Even though I don't really do social media anymore, it's the easiest way to explain to someone, what I do. And
Yeah.
I hate being labeled because I feel like it kind of shackles you and, like restricts you and contains you into this bucket that isn't who you are. Like, I mean, that's not who I am really. It's what I do, but I also do lots of other things like the podcast and the retreat and the million other things in the house. I'm now a carpenter and
Yeah. Well, you know how I feel about that because I've actually expressed that on my Instagram before. I'm not a specialist, I'm a hairdresser. So many people are like specialists in one thing within the industry, but like I don't like that box. I don't like it being constricted. I feel like, there's a constriction when it comes to society where they want you to be and all those, the way some leadership programs will come in and they like go, this is your personality box. This is your personality box. Or, there's 4 different categories and there's a few different ways. There's colors and then there's names and there's a few different ways of people teaching that. And I'm just like, fuck off. I'm a little bit of all of them, like, and school wants to put you into a box. The desk job wants to put you into a box. And I kind of think like there's a lot of freedom within your creativity and we can't be boxing that up, people.
No, I mean, I get that, you need to find a bit of a focus. If you want to do something, you've got to figure out, what is it you're trying to do. I get that. But it's like even everyone always used to say to me, I mean, I was very much known as an extrovert. And actually, I'm an introverted extrovert as a mouthful.
Yeah, you're
But,
both.
I love my time alone. I think this podcast has probably highlighted to people how much I love my time alone. I love my own company, and I love just spending time on my own and days on my own. But I also love going out and being, chatty and socializing, that person. But I'm not one. I'm both. It just depends on the day and the mood that I'm in.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair enough. Like I do actually, you're fucking out spot on. I don't think people
I feel like
really
I've
knew
ignited
you
something
at
in you with
all.
that.
Honestly, I don't think people knew you at all. Like I saw you as a funny, like outside of like that whole, marketing head and all of those things. And that's why I was pestering you to start a podcast with you. I was like, come on, Charlotte, let's do it. Let's just fucking do it. And
I would never
I
put
think
that
people are
somebody would
quite
sum me up as
surprised.
funny.
What's that?
I would never say that somebody would describe me as funny. I don't think I'm funny.
Oh, maybe I laugh at you then. I'm not too sure. I do laugh.
I think that's more
You're
like it. I'm not.
entertaining.
I tend to navigate towards funny, like comedic people. Like I love people that make me laugh, but I don't think I'm that person.
Oh, really? I think you're obsessive and funny. You are both. You are definitely. There's a lot of ways, I think, to describe Miss Overton.
But that's exactly what we're talking about. It's like, how can you put someone in a bucket when, one day I might be really funny, but the rest of the
Yeah.
day of my life I'm not. It's like, it's just these labels. Like it does really piss me off. I remember somebody, when I did a TEFL course in Rome years ago, and he tried to put us in these colored categories of personalities, and I remember feeling so vexed. I've been watching a lot of period
Mm.
dramas. I'm vexed. And I just got really annoyed because I was like, no, that's not me. Like, and even like your family do it and stuff where, they're just say, the stuff they've been saying for years, but not realizing you've evolved into a different person, that you're not in those. I just hate it. Like if anyone says to me, oh, you're that type, it really pisses me off. It really pushes a button in
But
me.
wait.
I'm kind of like, I am not a category.
Oh, well done though. It's good because I think a habit of a lot of people is I'm just a hairdresser. I'm just in marketing. If someone asks, so what do you do? Oh, I just do this or I just do that. We put ourselves down a lot. Like I prefer that you have that. Don't put me in a category. Like I can be anything I want. Like I actually think that's better. I think that's more like progressive attitude to
Well,
have.
it's
I have that theory, of course, of years ago of that's how a lot of men in the hairdressing industry got to the top, and like it's predominantly women in the industry because women are more inclined to go, "Oh, I'm just," and men are like coming into the room swinging their dick, being like, "I'm a hairdresser, I'm a stylist for the stars." And it's and then just like they don't put themselves in a box.
no,
They
but
just they chance their arm. It works.
that goes exactly back to that whole context thing. And it's like, how they have like, like on, I think Saturday Night Live do it and stuff, but they've done lots of experiments over the years where they've sent like musicians into like the London Underground or wherever around the world. And, they'll make a couple of quid a day busking, like just to prove a point. But yet they're then paid absolute thousands to play in concert halls, in Wembley Stadium, on the TV, everything, in order, to prove that it's all the context of where you are and who you're talking to and how people perceive you. Like it's not. So like for example, for you, like, you do in salon hair, but then you also do weddings and they're different prices. So it really is, you can take the same skill that you have, but move it into different industries or different contexts and get paid so much more. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's a different value in different areas, but within the same industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for weddings
And
as well, like there's just a different level of Grainne that has to show up
yeah.
as well.
But it's like, like with me with the retreats and stuff, I can be a retreat host. I was a bloody tour guide, and the same thing. It's just adapting my skills into a different area,
Yeah.
but it's still the same skills.
Funny because a lot of hairdressers go into being a counselor. I think, because they've got the skill of talking to anybody.
Yes,
They've
they
got the,
totally have.
yeah. So they go and study, to be like a counselor or whatever other name I can't think off the top of my head. Not a psychiatrist, but um,
Yeah.
and they study that on the side. A lot of hairdressers because we're so good at the jibber jabber.
I know that. See, but that's exactly what I mean. So if like you're literally feeling like, you're just on the same thing day in, day out, like this is who I am, this is what I do. Oh, I hate it and stuff. Just change the context of it. Like if you are a hairdresser and you're working in a salon, wherever, then maybe apply to production teams and do hair on TV sets because you get paid more. It'd be more interesting. You're meeting like celebrities. There's ways of doing it. Like even my business, like suddenly changing from doing marketing for other businesses to then doing marketing for my retreat business that I was passionate about and loved, and all the steps I put in place 4 years ago, and now literally coming alive like you wouldn't believe. That it's just putting your skills in a different context actually has such a huge difference in your
And
in
it's
your whole perception of yourself, in your money, the return that you're getting, mental health wise, everything.
Oh my God, absolutely. Because I think people also put themselves into what the title is,
Mm-hmm.
hairdressing, marketing. But we have so many little wee skills. Like we can manage the staff. We can manage, there's different people have different skills. Just don't make your skill just be your job title. There's actually
Yeah.
small things you do every single day. Like we manage column. We manage
At least you said
our whole
column. You
day.
used to say column.
Column. God, I've come a long way. That actually sounds weird now. Column. My column is full today. And we manage that. We time manage because of that. Everybody's got a skill within the job title. And if you actually took away that job title and wrote down in simple words what that skill is, whether it be, I have to sell myself, right? Like, so many people don't want to have a business because they don't want to sell themselves or they don't know how to sell themselves. You've got to sell your work. So that's me in what I suppose that's marketing, right?
I mean, I got totally shot down the other day with a friend, because
What
she
do you
no,
mean?
in a good way. Like, I mean, I can't believe I had been putting her in this category for so long and like
Oh,
describing her to other people as a category. And she kind of said to me, "I'm not that," and I was like, "Oh my God, you're not as well." And I, really, and I'll tell you about it because she listens to this as well. But no, like I've been saying that my friend was a VA, a virtual assistant, for ages, and then I was chatting to her, and her business is growing so quickly. She's taking on team members, and I was like, "God, you're doing so well." And I said, remember the time we were talking about being a VA? And she's like, "I'm not a VA, Charlotte." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, you're not really," because she like helps events companies, and but it's just the way. And then I started thinking when I left, I was like, "God, that was awful that I was putting her in that category." And she's clearly not that. Like her skill sets aren't even that. She's not just doing admin for people. She's literally orchestrating huge events and weddings and all sorts of things for multiple businesses. That it's much higher than that. But then it got me thinking about the virtual assistant title, like why does that have to have virtual in it? I don't have virtual in it, but in my title, but yet I'm virtual. I work remotely from my clients. And, it unravels this big question of like, how much do these titles actually determine who we are? When we could be anything. And so I said to her, I was like, you need to like come up with a cool title. And I remembered when I was younger and I I got offered, a company didn't want me to leave, so they kind of made up a job for me, and it was the one where I had to go over to like Turkey and Greece and test hotels and restaurants. I mean, that was literally my job. And they said, what would you want your title to be? And I was like, I was about 20 at the time, and I was like, oh, I don't know, like international business coordinator. And
Oh
it's
my
just that
God.
thing that you can be whoever you want to be. Like, create a really cool title.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what would be a super cool one for you as a hairdresser without being a hairdresser?
Um, I don't know. I always say things like, "Oh, I think a good hairdo can make you walk out the door and make you feel like you take over the world." So you could be a transformational
Empowerment
guru.
specialist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
empowerment specialist. I mean, listen, there's a lot of fucking titles in the world, and I think there's too many. As long as you explain the title from the rooftops, people need to know. It's scary if people
But
don't
why
know
do you have
what
to
they mean
explain?
or
Like,
what you can do for them. Because what do they know that you're going to give them then? Like, how do they
well,
know
they
what
can
you're
see by
capable
your
of doing for
visuals.
their business?
But that's just
Your
like company
visuals.
names. Like, there is like a certain sector of companies that literally say what they do on the tin. And, I'm not going to say any because I don't want to diss anyone. But, there's lots of companies that literally say exactly what they do. And, and then you get like my industry. Like, I mean, there's things called, I used to work for an agency called Jellyfish, and mine's called Fresh Mix. We don't say what we do on the tin, but yet they work like Virgin,
I don't mind that, but as long as, like, you're getting your target audience and they understand what you can do for their business, like,
Yeah, but
sometimes,
that's how
because for
you do
instance,
that
with
through communication, not through the name.
oh no, I don't mean the name. I mean shout it from the rooftops, like what you can do for a business.
Yeah.
Like I don't give a shit what your
Oh,
business
of
is
course.
called, but I still, honestly, sometimes I don't even understand. I find when I'm following people in marketing, like it's so good when you do the reels of just explaining what's changing on the platforms that you use or and you're partnered with, and I can Google Wix. I can, you've got like I'm partnered with Wix or and Google Ads, and so for me to understand, then because you've explained that, now you've put that on your website, I can then Google that, so then I kind of know more about your business before I even ask you. Because if
Mm.
you need to be able to show it, like you go into Willow Society, there's no hair in the name, but there's a big swinging head of hair in the website when you go in, because you're like, oh, I wonder what Willow Society is. That's all I'm saying. You have to have those little things to make sure that the customers that are Googling you are looking for what you can offer. They know that that's there, that's it. That's
Yeah.
the person. That's what I'm looking for. I don't give a shit what your name is called or what your title is called,
Well,
but
that's
just
the
make
whole
sure
point,
that
isn't it? It's
customers
like
know.
it doesn't matter what your title is or what your company name is. What matters is the communication that you put out there. That, don't box yourself into blonde specialist or whatever. You can be anything.
Oh, absolutely.
As long as you
Because
communicate with
I
a blonde specialist.
Very true. I've had a huge amount of changes in the business this week, and one of them is her title is many things. Talking about this, so my business consultant, my rep, and the person who she's also a personal trainer, and she helps me out on all those things across the board since before I even opened my business. And she rang me the other day saying she's handed in her notice. Oh,
No, you love her.
I
Oh
love
no.
her. I love her so much.
Oh, isn't that
Now,
annoying
don't
when
get,
that happens? You're like, I'm happy for you, but
oh, that's exactly right. I messaged her afterwards, being like, I choked up at the end of the phone call because I was like trying to express, like, listen, you got to do you. You got to be happy. You go crazy. You do you. But I'm going to miss you so much. But hopefully, when the dust settles, possibly she might approach the idea of working for herself as a business consultant, and then at least I'll be able to actually utilize her in her skills still. But until
oh,
then, we created a great relationship, and nothing I have done with this business has gone without a phone call to her. So like you said, she's got many titles, and for me she was a real gel to my business, and I'm going to miss her awful. So yeah, life this week. Now, in saying that, life this week in the salon and in the business has come to fruition. A lot of my goals are coming true, Charlotte, and I actually
I know.
decided I'd look
I'm like,
back.
does this mean we can do a tropical getaway?
Maybe now calm down. I can see how excited you've gotten. Maybe. But in saying that, I decided to look back over what we did at the start of the year with our goal setting party. Um, and I had a quick look at it, and there's been a lot of like, I started kind of down the path of one thing that I put in the last quarter, but I veered off completely. And I was like, okay, maybe that's a good plan. Maybe that, and things didn't work out. And then another, it bounced back to that goal that I put in on the last quarter of, fuck, there still might be a chance of that actually happening, because something has happened in this week in the salon that's created an opportunity where that last quarter is a big one for me, and fuck, it might happen, because things have happened already within that goal setting in the first and second quarter of my year already. And
Are you gonna say what the goal is?
Well, the goal is to buy a commercial building. And of course,
oh yes, right, okay.
Yeah. And that's in the last quarter. And then I decided to veer off, and I thought maybe I'll buy a bit of land and put a house on it. And I kind of got a few roadblocks there, and I decided not to worry about them. I was like, okay, I'm being veered. And then this week I got approached by somebody who came into the salon and asked to rent all the back space in the salon. So we've agreed. So I just need to do a couple of things now with the Sparky and with a builder, and I'm going to have tenants. So I'm going to be a fucking landlord in the next month or two, which is outrageous, which is so
this
good.
Is what we were saying. You're not just a hairdresser or a salon owner.
Yes.
You're now a landlord as well. Like,
yeah.
Fuck those
and
categories.
This year I'm going to turn, fuck the categories. And this year as well, I wanted to turn creating the best job I've ever had in my life into a business, because that's all I did. I just created the best job I've ever had in my life because there was no profit margin or etc. I'm working hard, and I'm just not working for somebody. But this year it's going to be a fucking business, because guess what? As of from a few days ago, there is going to be an amazing girl starting working with me full time on the floor. And guess what? I think she is better than me, which is exactly what I fucking wanted. Oh, the excitement. Her books are open. I'm going to plug it. Her books are open, people. Get booked in. She's actually booking up she's booking up pretty quickly. I don't give a fuck. I'm plugging the shit out of myself. She's coming on board. She's absolutely incredible. She's coming down from Arrowtown. I'm so excited. Between her and the landlords out the back. And, it took a good few years, and I slightly implemented things. And these are people coming back to me from a year ago. I offered them the space a year ago, and they're coming back. And we put those ads up for someone to work in the salon at the start of the year. And we just put it out there. And we spoke about in the podcast how I was implementing little things into the salon to get it ready, to create space and movement for someone to approach me. I always wanted someone that was better than me. And I think these things are coming to fruition, and and it's all happening at once, and it's just absolutely out the gate. It's out the gate.
Well,
out the gate.
That's like pure manifestation, isn't it? Down to a T of just where you declare something that you want it, and you start making those, like you said, I think it was like last episode or the one before, of do something small today that gets you closer to what you want to do. And the same thing with us at the start of the year, putting the adverts out to get someone in. You talking to the guys that are renting the space a year ago, you were putting those small little things in place that then compound over time and create something that you don't tell the universe, maybe I want this. You declare it, and that's what you did. And now it's all starting to fall into place.
And it's happening effortlessly. I know, fucking seriously. It's all happening effortlessly as well. Like, it's really just nicely panning out. That's why I always say there's an element of patience. Like, when I had a conversation with you this week about this, and what I was trying to put across was I wasn't desperate for somebody to work with me when I put those ads out. I wanted to put them out. I wanted to get the feelers. Not I'm trying to put out things before like beforehand, before that like panic, before the oh my god, I need someone yesterday. Oh my god, this or oh fuck. Like I just thought, let's just put it out. Let's just see what happens. Let's just and like even like you said, like putting in those little things. You're living in people's heads for free. They know that space is there, but they're not ready to take it on themselves. And you can be like, yeah, no problem. All about patience, the long game. What do they say? Slow down and implement things, and then manifestation at its best. That's exactly right. I absolutely wrote it down. I declared this is how I wanted to go. I
Yeah,
want
you
it to
wrote it down at the
happen.
goals party.
Yeah, I wrote it down at the goal party. It's absolutely amazing. And this morning, I decided I was going to do um, a bit of meditation, and I did it. I just decided to do it. The meditation then turned into more manifestation. Did a bit of visualization, and I left kind of meditation music on in the background while I cleaned the house. I did a workout, and I just decided to have the best morning ever for me. I filled my cup. I owned my fucking morning, and it feels good. I'm now sitting in here in the salon. We're
Mm.
recording the podcast. You've got a big weekend. I've got an amazing weekend. And we're just lifting up that vibration, getting ahead of ourselves, being patient, and just letting it fucking happen. If it's happening through force and it feels like it's an effort and you're constantly bitching and moaning about it, maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's not your time, maybe it's not your place. Forcing it is only going to create more problems. I think the element of what we're trying to do is have it flow, have a beautiful, effortless life with abundance through manifestation and declaring it. God, I sound like a fucking twat, but it's actually how I feel.